back to this one. So basically this guy, he was fired. And this is what happens when power has egg on its face. Apparently that's the theme of today's show.
The Navy says
speaking truth to power gets you fucked. This man spent a good portion of his life in the military. He made it all the way up to be the captain of this massive ship. He got to a point where his crew admired him, and you'll see how they feel about him as he was walking off the ship. But because he sounded the alarm and said, hey, and listen, I'm all about good order and discipline for the military. It definitely did something for me. Whether good, I'm still undecided about it. But I understand that for the military to work the way that it does, you need good order and discipline, right? But that's part of why I left the military. Sometimes there's no deviation from the rules at all. Or the rules are so damn subjective. There's so much gray area. It's like circumstantial on what actually happens in that instance. Because you think this is the first time that anyone's ever been relieved of power because they use the same fucking line every time. The leadership lost faith in his abilities to lead. He's going to say some stupid shit like that, saying that he lost the ability to lead his ship. He lost the faith of his leadership and the faith of those who he commands, or some shit like that. You tell me, as these people are chanting his name, if he lost their faith, if he's no longer fit to lead them.
Lester?
All right, Miguel, thanks very much. The Navy says at least 137 sailors aboard the aircraft carrier USS Theodore Roosevelt have tested positive amid growing criticism over the firing of the ship's captain, who pleaded for help to stop the outbreak. NBC's Courtney Cuby on the extraordinary scene as the captain left his ship.
The Navy may have fired Captain Brett Crozier, but his sailors would not let him go quietly. Chanting his name, sailors swarmed to say goodbye to Crozier, who sounded the alarm about a growing coronavirus outbreak on board the USS Theodore Roosevelt. Before departing, Crozier turned to wave farewell. Earlier this week, he begged Navy leaders to help the ship's crew in a letter first reported by the San Francisco Chronicle. "We are not at war," he wrote. "Sailors do not need to die." Acting Navy Secretary Thomas Modly says Crozier sent the letter to multiple people on an unclassified server rather than going directly to his leadership.
To me, that demonstrated extremely poor judgment in the middle of a crisis. Because what it's done, it's created a firestorm.
But critics say Crozier was dismissed for speaking out and trying to protect his sailors.
The administration is not going to be able to fire their way out of this problem.
In a statement to NBC News, a group of sailors on board the aircraft carrier agreed, saying Secretary Modly has turned a military crisis operation into a political reprisal, adding that Captain Crozier has the full faith and confidence of this crew. In an interview today, Acting Secretary Modly called firing Crozier the hardest thing he's ever had to do. Lester?
All right. Courtney, thank you. There was new evidence today of
Okay. So you see what happens when you speak out. Obviously, power is going to have its take on the story, and the individuals involved are going to have theirs. Now, again, I can personally tell you, because they said that he went outside and used non-secure channels to disseminate this email, which, yeah, that's wrong. You don't do that. Unless you've been ignored. And again, they're not going to admit that he said it to someone else and someone else was like, hey, man, chill. Do you know what it'll look like to the world if they find out that we have an outbreak of COVID-19 on a Navy vessel? Do you know that the world's going to think we're weak? That they can just come take us? That's literally how they fucking think. That's how power thinks. Power thinks as soon as you show the slightest shred of... And this isn't even weakness, man. This is like literally humanity. Humans are fucking dying.